Hey everyone, my name is Jeff. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a mediocre martial artist and fight scene enthusiast, action movie nerd, and exercise scientist. So I thought it might be fun to do some reactions, give some thoughts on fight scenes and other kind of human performance feats, if you will, in cinema, maybe in television, etc. We'll see if I do several of these. But I at least wanted to take a crack at this. So here I am looking at a scene from 1984's Wheels on Meals. It's a pretty famous scene. Action film freaks are probably well familiar with it. But it involves a fight between Jackie Chan and Benny the Jet Urquidez. If you don't know who Benny is, Benny Urquidez had a very long kickboxing career, and there's stuff you can look into as far as that. There are also some more recent interviews where he actually, I think in a couple of them, talks about this movie and how it even got started, how he got involved. But he's a cool guy. He operates a school out in California, I believe still. You can find some videos on YouTube of his. Speaking of YouTube, I'm going to include a link in the description to the exact video that I am looking at here. And just, again, providing my commentary. Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe I will learn something when somebody points out something that I missed. So either way, let me know. If you like it, dislike it, if you have suggestions for other videos that I could do. And you can have a lot of fun with this. But with that being said, let's get into it. So you put on my trusty headphones and see what we can see. And actually, let me size this up just a little bit too, if I can. Yeah, let's make that a little bit bigger. So you can see some details I try to highlight here. And I highly recommend that you watch this whole scene on your own and watch the whole movie on your own. And again, I'm going to include a link in the description to this exact video that I'm using for this commentary. So we have Benny here in the white or kind of off-white outfit there, who just came off of the wall. Of course, if you know Jackie Chan, then you'll know obviously the other guy has to be Benny Urquidez. And I've always enjoyed these they're kind of cheesy, but these reaction shots where a person kind of gets hit and they size up the other person and give them that look of respect. It doesn't show up really well, by the way, in this video just because it's not really HD. I originally had another version, but I wanted to use it online, and I think they took down the video or something. I can't find it now. But this shows just it's almost eyeliner or something that Benny has, and it's just a little thing for his character, as I understand it. He already has some unique facial features, and then they accentuated something with his eyes by adding this sort of darkness, and it's the sort of thing that you may not pick up on consciously, but they do for characters to make them more menacing or make them a little disturbing or a variety of things. Anyway, thought that was kind of cool. Love that back kick as he's taking off the jacket, really smooth. And yeah, you take a kick from Benny, you're going to be hurting. I love that little hook kick around there. And of course, you get the suspenders. Another thing to focus on here, look throughout this fight at the difference in posture between these two guys. A good fight scene, and I'm not the first person to say this by a long shot, should tell some kind of a story, and in that story there are going to be characters. These people have different traits. So you're going to notice Jackie as a looser, almost sloppier kind of style. And of course, he's known for that sometimes in a very slapstick sort of way. But notice just that compared to the more kind of controlled, tightly coiled sort of posture that Benny has. And coming up here is a great little shot that I like. Boom! I love that. I also want to point something out. I know I'm stopping it a lot here, but it's because there's a lot of cool stuff to talk about in this scene. If I can... I missed it. In an HD version, it's a little better. Okay. It's hard to tell in this version, unfortunately, but if you see a really sharp version of this video, there's a pad that Benny is wearing right here. And that pad, I mean, obviously you wear pads so you don't get hurt and all that. I'm going to make a comment later about something else that pads can be really good for these fight scenes. And of course, if it's fuzzy, you don't notice it, or if it's moving really fast, you often don't notice these things. But in these kinds of scenes, they're often connecting. In this shot, Jackie actually is hitting Benny a little bit. I don't think Benny is actually connecting with Jackie, and that could have to do with the fact that either he's not as experienced at this point at selling kicks because he was a competitive fighter, not a movie star, Or it could also be the fact that Jackie was in charge of this production, as I recall, and you don't want to hurt the guy who's in charge. So that could be it as well. A lot of personality coming out there. The nod of respect. There you go. Really fast hands that they're showing here. And love this sequence. They're shooting this whole thing with wide enough shots, so that they can really encompass the action. It's not hidden from you. And that is a sign that the people involved in the scene either had a lot of prep time so they could really get the choreography down and get these longer sequences and show the whole movement, or they have a lot more experience as martial artists. Or in the case of these two guys, probably both. They're both very skilled, and Jackie Chan is known as being a perfectionist. And so there was probably a lot of time put into the preparation for this scene. So it's a cool thing to notice, a difference in styles from one action movie to another. Notice where they're sometimes doing really quick cuts, or they're zoomed in a lot, or they're not showing you a lot of the action, because often they're hiding the fact that the people who are participating, or at least one of the people participating, might not just have the skills necessary to sell it when you can see the whole thing. Boom, 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 boom. I love the impacts here. That little blowing out the candles, the story is he actually did that. They were going to rig up something to do it, but Benny actually was fast enough to blow him out himself. I don't know if I believe that, but it's a cool story. Got to work on those chokes, Jackie. Speaking of chokes, we're going to see something else here I'm going to comment on. Love that back kick. And you notice Benny's going for a lot of these deep, punishing body shots with his punches too. It adds a lot of impact and adds, again, a certain personality to his style. So this movie's been dubbed several different times, and you can actually see. Let me back this up just a bit. You might be able to tell that eyeliner thing I was talking about before. Oh, where was it? There. So yeah, you can see there's just a little bit of something going on with Benny's eyes here. He already has these sort of deep set eyes that are a little bit, have an otherworldly quality to them. They're a little different, and I think they're just adding something to that with this makeup effect. And I said before, fight scenes tell a story. Well, here's where the story beat changes. They've done several dubs of this film, and this is not the best dub necessarily, but it's got the music. It's so 80s. I love it. Again, look at the postural difference between these two. They're not super, super different in terms of height, but Benny's more coiled up. Jackie is standing taller, and he's looser. His arms drop. This is all showing the stylistic difference. Now, that shot was tighter in because it had a reason to be. You notice the rhythm is changing. I love that shot. Let's back that up and take a look at that again. Anytime you have two kicks that are going by each other, in this case, Benny is doing sort of a kind of a cutting. It's not a clean horizontal roundhouse kick like almost a stereotypical taekwondo kick like I first learned. It's more of a slice, kind of coming up at an angle. You see a lot of those, and also I think it allowed them to set the angle up nicely for this shot. So he does that right foot kick. Jackie drops down and kicks around with his right foot like a spinning hook kick sort of thing. Where is it? It's right about here. Bang! So, and there's a nice little line that he makes here. I really, really like it. And it's kind of hard to get it exact, but you see that there is this very clean aesthetic. So the timing is good. These strikes, there's not a lot of lag between them. These guys have practiced. They've gotten their timing down really well. And then there's also visually a blocking and spacing thing going on that's really, really nice. Side note, I also like how these guys are lying down. This one's lying almost stone stiff here. I find that really entertaining. Okay, one more time here. See if I can catch the line here on that kick. Bam! That's what I wanted. Very clean. Of course, he's bending to the side a little bit here, but it looks really nice on camera. On camera and in camera. Again, they're not hiding these techniques. They're not hiding these shots and the hits. The beats are shown right there for you, and you can take it all in. It's really, really cool. I think it's very good filmmaking when you're talking about shooting a fight scene like this. That makes my knees hurt just watching, because I'm recovering from ACL surgery right now, and it's just, oof. Love this little rhythm. Back and forth and back and forth. So now there's a struggle. The kick. Love the little shots to the body. Now you're going to notice, I said I was going to talk about chokes before. This is something you see in fight scenes a lot. Realistically, this is not a good way to choke a person. If they're grabbing you hard enough by the front of your throat that you can't immediately just slide their hands right off, they've probably already crushed your trachea. So, assuming they're not doing that, you should just be able to pull it right off. It might be painful. There's going to be bruising. They might break some of the cartilage there. There's stuff that can happen if they actually are grabbing tightly. But if you are trying to restrict somebody's airway, doing it from the front like that is actually not as easy or effective as a lot of people convey in movies. But it makes for a good little beat here. It's kind of a cool thing to watch. So, you know, you see it included. There you go. Also a little funny Jackie Chan thing about to happen right here. And a little punch. Oh, that's not working. He's wearing a pad right there, I think. And the tickle. You wouldn't be able to say that if you just got punched in the windpipe, but okay. Again, look at the postural difference, right? And he's like stiffer almost with everything. His moves are all a little bit more restrained. Let's all take a moment to appreciate how physics just got defied right there. So again, this is where they're taking some license. Obviously, it's not very realistic to just be able to tap a person one way and then tap them back the other way, even if you are hitting hard. The body's not a rigid plank like that. But he comes in, kick to the side of the head, bang, right? And that was a very fast kick, a very nice little snapping roundhouse there, but taps him on the left side of his face, and then he falls over. And now he's falling to his right because he got hit on the left side of his face. And then he's just going to punch him back up the other way. Totally unrealistic, but fun to watch. And I also love how all these bruises show up immediately after they get hit. Another thing that fight scenes like to do. So, this commentary is priceless. I don't think I've ever seen Benny actually wobble like that in any of his real fights. Oh, so here's another one where you can see there's some padding on here. And you notice he's wearing what looks like a body pad. Of course, it's a little fuzzy in this video. It's hard to tell. But he's also wearing what it looks like he's wearing some arm pads as well here. And I'm going to make a point here. I'm going to watch this little burst here. But there's a point to make about wearing pads beyond just protection. So these hits are connecting. But notice his arms look kind of thick. He's probably got some padding in there under the sleeves. All right. So, obviously, if you wear a pad, then all other things being equal, if you get hurt, you're less likely to get hurt as badly, right? That makes sense. But in addition, there's another thing that can happen where it may allow the rhythm and the speed to kind of cut loose a little bit. So if you know that if you happen to overshoot, you're not as likely to hit somebody, you might take more risks with how close you get or how fast you throw a punch or a kick, and that might help you to sell a technique and make it look a lot better on screen. So even if you don't end up hitting the other person, the fact that they have pads might allow you to relax a little bit, commit a little bit more to the strike, and in so doing, it might sell the technique a lot better on film or on screen. So that's another thing that is worth thinking about when you're looking at if you spot safety gear or something like that. It's something to think about in these shots. One other thing, there was that slow-mo punch that he took, well, I guess would be left, right? That came around that Benny took to the face. Now, he really connected. an interesting thing that you see here, and if I do any Rocky videos, I might mention this again, is you see a lot of frenetic, very fast action. Boom, 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 boom. But there's a clear sort of rhythm that the players or the actors have, and you kind of feel those impacts. And if you go from that suddenly to a slow-mo shot, well, your brain may want to fill in and assume, well, that punch that's coming through is at the same speed as these other punches or kicks that I was just watching, where the actors weren't actually hitting each other. So it may make you appreciate that impact a lot more, because you're kind of making the assumption, and you're suspending your disbelief here, you're making the assumption that, oh yeah, he's getting hit, and he must be getting hit really hard, because that fist, if we sped this all the way back up, would be going really fast. What they'll often do is actually go a lot slower than it would actually be. That is, that fist would actually not be going that slowly at that film speed. So they're going even slower than the slow-mo would have the fist go if they were going at the normal speed that you were seeing. But because you just see, oh, there's a slow fist, I know this is a slow-mo shot, it's probably going the same speed as all those other punches at normal speed were going. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's another way that they sell these sorts of things. And in fact, we'll back it up a little bit just so you can see that. So again, think about the speed of that fist as it comes in here. All these punches coming in. Actual connection right there in the face. And of course, he was obviously taking a lot of sting off of those punches. There's that body pad. You can see it really well there. Just hugging him. Side note, probably not a smart way to fight. There's a difference between this and the peekaboo thing that Mike Tyson was known for doing, and several other fighters. May not want to do this, but it's funny. And peekaboo. It's another thing where the angle at which he launched forward and the angle at which his knee came up don't match. Classic stuff. So take a moment to appreciate that kick again. So he launches himself forward. Back up. Okay, so let's see if I can pause this. Okay, so he's coming from here. His knee is already above Benny's face, or at least about that level. By the time he gets that leg horizontal, that knee is going to be about right here, right? Yet, in the next shot, you notice his knee's coming upside Benny's face. So this is just one of those little things where subconsciously or unconsciously we may not really care, we may not notice, and they intentionally will mismatch shots because it actually helps with the impact that whenever we see the next shot. So as things are edited together, it kind of works. So they will actually do several shots. They didn't use, basically this isn't all from the same shot. They didn't take one take of Jackie jumping and doing a kick and going upside his head. They had to do at least 2 different shots for that, 2 different setups. So Jackie did his jump, and they had a separate setup where a knee came up, probably Jackie's, and they set up the close-up shot. Again, see the knee coming up. Would not be possible for him to actually do that as he was coming forward. But it's a cool shot. Boom. With all the sweat flying out. And that's another thing, right? So we actually have 2 impossible things here. One was hitting at that angle when he was jumping from that far away, with the height situation being what it was. And second, Jackie's knee is here. To have his knee coming up like that, yeah, Jackie could still be kind of coming forward, but there'd be some upward kind of component. Benny's flying back. Now look at Jackie's body angle. Suddenly, Jackie took several steps back and then leapt forward to do the Superman dive to grab Benny's legs. So there's a lot of surreal stuff kind of happening here that in the moment we may not think about, but it's kind of cool right there. And that's what we got. And yeah, I have a ton of tabs open at the top there. But hopefully you got something out of this. I enjoy talking about this stuff. And yeah, if you watched all the way through this, well, first off, thank you. If you enjoy this and want to see more of it, click like on the video, share it with other people, make a comment as far as maybe other scenes or movies I should check out, comments on things maybe that I missed that you noticed, or other considerations. Subscribe to the channel if you like. And otherwise, I'll continue sharing a variety of things on this channel, including maybe more of these reaction videos. But thanks for stopping by. Take it easy.